I'm going to call the meeting to order with the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Next on the agenda is the acceptance of the meeting minutes from March 7th, 2016.
Make a motion to accept the minutes as written.
I'll second that.
A motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous. Discussion on policies and procedures. In your packets, we have, back on January 12th, there was a letter that was sent to some people by email, the Board of Selectmen and a few others. I think I'd like to read it. Water Sewer Department, dear members, we applaud Dan O'Connor for identifying the real opportunity to save money as noted in the recent article in the Webster Times. His presentation, while directionally correct, misses the opportunity to use the timing to examine the whole organization rather than the only one individual's position. This was at about the time that there was discussion on merging the water superintendent's position with the sewer superintendent's position. To that end, the FAA recommends, and I want to stress that portion, the FAA recommends, prior to any personnel changes, that the Selectmen review of the organization of the Water Sewer Department to include, number one, a current organizational chart, 2, current job descriptions and qualifications for each position, 3, salary ranges for each position, 4, water and sewer rates in Dudley and comparable towns, 4, enterprise capital improvement plan, 6, planned use of the enterprise reserve in comparison with other towns' reserves, excess reserves as any. Please contact me if you have any questions. Thank you. Kerry Siganevich, Chairman of the FAA. There are 2 problems with this letter. The FAA recommends. The FAA never recommended this. We never voted on this. We never drafted this letter. Number 2, at the bottom it has my name, Chairman of the FAA. I never drafted this letter. I never sent this letter. I never saw this letter until it showed up in my email box. This letter was drafted by one person from the FAA who, I'm not sure if they're a member of the FAA anymore. They're not here with us at this meeting presently. And the reason why I called this meeting and I put this on the agenda was to, I kind of assumed it was common sense, but no one of us should be drafting any letters on our own. Any policies, any procedures, any communication that we do should be as a board, in my opinion. I think we should discuss things in an open meeting, cameras, microphones, open discussion. We should vote on things. We should do things as a group. We shouldn't be doing things by ourselves. We shouldn't be doing things in a dark broom closet. We should be doing things out in the open. And Dan O'Connor's name was mentioned in this. I'd like to apologize to him. I did not. I didn't do this. I was told this came from Alan Marble. I didn't see him do it. I can't say it did, but if it was him, I hope he makes this right somehow. Any one of you want to weigh in on this?
Well, it's your signature. How do you feel? What do you think should be done?
That's why I called this. My name's on this. I kind of value my name a little bit. I don't feel good. That's why I'm talking about this. That's why I read it.
Has anybody reached out to Alan on this? Ask him. It might have been whether he did this or not, or why. Nobody's talked to him?
Anybody have any
Not to my
feedback on
knowledge,
this?
no.
No? Nobody's heard from him, or, so he just dropped this letter off, or?
I'm going to be honest. I'm tenuous on what I'm doing because he's the real estate agent involved with the Islamic Society on Corbin Road with that property. I don't know what to do. I don't know what I should be doing. I don't know.
I think all we need to do as a board is to vote publicly that any and all correspondence that are made through the FAA in relation to anything relative to budgets or management of budgets in the town should be voted on in an open meeting, forwarded through the town administrator and his office to the Board of Selectmen. I think that's all we really need to do. That we've made it public, that's our process, that's our procedure, and move forward from there.
And if, just add that if you are unable to meet to discuss that, forward something to me and I will send that out under my signature saying as recommended by or as discussed with. That way you don't have to necessarily wait until you have a meeting.
Right.
Is this something we would need to make a motion on and vote on, or is this kind of
No,
common
I think
sense
it-
type of?
No, I think it's something you should vote on.
You-
So I'd make the motion that any and all correspondence related to the actions of the Finance and Appropriations Committee are done in public as part of a scheduled meeting, and that it has a unanimous vote before any correspondence is sent forward. I don't know if I'm wording that correctly, but off the top of my head, that's the best I'm getting right now.
Sounds good to me. I'll second that.
Motion and a second?
Well, it's just that if you look at this, you would think that we did discuss it and gave Kerry, the chairman, to take care of it. But we didn't.
Right. But if you go back to any meeting prior to January 12th, it would be reflected in the minutes if there were any type of action or any type of vote in regard to a letter. So that didn't happen. So I think all we're trying to accomplish is to make it clear exactly what our stance is and
Yes.
how we operate.
Kind of like fraud.
I don't think it reaches fraud, but here we are entering budget time, and I agree with you. It looks like we discussed something.
And you're the chairman, who we gave the authority to.
And we're singling out one of the commissioners of the Water Sewer Department. We're attacking someone we're supposed to be working with. That's not right. But, yeah, we have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Unanimous.
Before moving forward, if I could just ask a question, because it kind of blindsided a lot of us. Is there anything on this letter that we should be taking action on or voting on or addressing as part of an upcoming meeting, or?
The proposal's on hold at this time, so I would suggest that wait for direction to come from the Board of Selectmen and we can follow up at that time.
Perfect. Thank you.
I'm sorry, I didn't understand.
Proposal,
A proposal?
consolidation of the Department of Public Works.
Oh, okay. Any other policies or procedures we'd like to discuss, or we move on to miscellaneous?
Sir?
Yes.
I would ask that the board, the committee schedule its joint warrant article informational hearing on the 25th of April, jointly with the Board of Selectmen at 6 p.m. And I have a copy of the draft warrant that here. It's really just the first version, but it'll give you a good flavor for the items that are on the docket for town meeting.
I'm sorry, Greg, could you give us a date again?
25th?
April 25th, which is 2 weeks from today, at 6 p.m. And what we typically do is we advertise it, we invite the public in. We probably, I think last time we met was down, is it 215 down the hallway?
Yeah, I believe so.
It's probably a good idea that we convene, and I don't know why we met down there, but it's typically a joint Board of Selectmen's meeting, and the time is right.
So that would be 6:30 on the 25th.
6.
6, sorry.
6.
I apologize. I'll get it right eventually.
Perfect time for you members to miss dinner.
Yeah. I can afford missing a few dinners, so.
We'll get some cookies in the back room. Thank you very much. That concludes the item that I have. Thank you.
Anything else?
Not on this side. Anything else? The miscellaneous?
Anything else?
Unless you want to go a little bit over some of the things on the warrant, but.
I think we need a little time to absorb this before we start
Okay.
diving into it. Wouldn't you agree?
I would agree. Everything's pretty much explained in what it is, and it's likely that we're have to make some decisions because the school budget has yet to be voted and adopted, and that will determine what we have available for funding of other budget requests, if anything.
Excellent.
Great, offhand, what's our minimum contribution we've got to make to that, for the school?
The school minimum contribution is present year required minimum contribution is $5,152,575, and we're about $113,000 above that for the current fiscal year. And for fiscal year 2017, which is the key number, $5,482,143. So I think the gap is somewhere around 250. If you take where we are today, which is above the minimum required, and you add what is the required for next fiscal year, there's about a $215,000 gap.
So at the roughly $1 million increase, it's not too far off.
No, the schools came in originally with a $2.2 million increase, of which $945,000 was Dudley's share. So clearly, that's above and beyond the required minimum contribution. I am meeting with the superintendent on Wednesday. The town administrator from Charlton and I will have a meeting with the superintendent because we really are looking for some collaboration in terms of getting this budget number nailed down.
Any word on the local aid for that?
They've taken the most conservative approach. So the schools, when they submitted their budget, they took the most conservative approach available, which was the numbers included in the governor's H1 budget, which was released, I believe, back in late January.
All right.
You folks are good, I'm good.
Yeah.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
All right.
Aye.
Meeting adjourned.